I'd like to thank the distinguished members of the committee. We're here late. My name is Elizabeth Comrie, and I'm a former patrol officer with the Providence Police Department. I am now a speaker for Law Enforcement Action Partnership, LEAP, a national nonprofit organization that represents criminal justice professionals, cops, judges, prosecutors who are working to reform our failed drug policies. What became clear to me in my years on the force was that drug prohibition laws are used disproportionately against poor minority populations while doing nothing to stop the supply of marijuana. Further, the enforcement of our drug laws makes us all less safe. When I was in patrol, enforcing nonviolent drug offenses was considered a very low priority, particularly since we had plainclothes undercover units devoted entirely to drug law enforcement. And what I observed during my years on the force was that these undercover officers worked almost exclusively in the disadvantaged, low-income neighborhoods and the projects, while those living on the affluent East Side and the college campuses had little to worry about. And I'm quite sure they could have found someone selling drugs at Brown University in the 70s. It was also clear to me that arresting drug dealers accomplished nothing. Unlike other crimes like murder, rape, robbery, there is a never-ending supply of low-level operatives just waiting to step in. Lock up a drug dealer and someone else just takes their place. Meanwhile, police resources are being diverted from the serious crimes, the crimes our families worry about. The resolution of homicide cases has plummeted here in Providence as across the nation. The rate of closure percentage in rape, robbery, and murder and assault is the lowest it's been since the 1940s. Rate of closure is solving the crime. Another factor is that drug arrests are made mostly in poor minority communities, so they lose all trust in the police and they don't cooperate in solving homicides and other violent crimes. And has any citizen ever watched one of those big marijuana bust reports on the local news and said, "Oh, thank God, I feel so much safer"? You often see the captains and the mayors proudly posing behind the latest haul, but those hauls are getting bigger. Those hauls used to be measured in kilos of marijuana, and now marijuana is measured in tons. If our original goal was to eliminate the marijuana trade, we are losing the battle. One other unwelcome side effect of drug prohibition is this escalating arms race between the criminals and police departments, who now look like they are an occupying army. SWAT teams are now used to execute search warrants with often catastrophic and deadly results. Marijuana arrests have plummeted in Washington and Colorado, with fewer people clogging up the courts and incurring criminal records. And stores are putting illegal dealers out of business. Rhode Islanders already smoke marijuana. This bill would ensure that what they are smoking is carefully regulated, that it is kept away from children, and that the profits from its sale would contribute to our state's budget instead of to the criminal organizations currently controlling the market. We have tried arresting our way out of this problem. There's a better way. Let's regulate and tax marijuana, and I encourage you to pass House Bill 5555. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? Representative Vella-Wilkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question has to do with the underground market. So if we are agreeing that there's a percentage of the population of Rhode Island that is currently accessing and smoking marijuana, whether it's through the compassion centers or buying it on the street, do you feel that if marijuana is regulated and taxed and sold retail, the price would most likely be higher than if someone was buying it on the street? And why would someone choose to pay more money as opposed to less?
I'm with the people who think that in the beginning that will be true, but that the price will probably go down. And, you know, there are a lot of people who would much rather go to a safe place, buy marijuana that's been tested and they know it you know, hasn't been sprayed, it doesn't have fungus, and the convenience, I think, is worth a little extra money. I think the prices will come down. I think ultimately the black market would be minimal or nothing.
If the deterrent of marijuana being no longer being illegal was to occur, do you think that would raise the number of individuals that would then access marijuana either for edibles or to smoke it?
We're already maxed out here. I think everybody who wants marijuana gets it. They may change the form if they have the opportunity to get an edible or start vaping or whatever. But we can look at states like Washington and Colorado, and we have some figures now to look at, and we're just not seeing increased use in the teens, maybe a little, as other people have testified who know the statistics better, but we just don't seem to be observing that where it's already been legalized.
So if the kids are seeing their parents accessing it once it becomes legalized, you don't think it'll have any impact on the number of children?
I think that's going to turn them off, frankly. You know, the messaging, as someone else complained about that, oh, what kind of message will we be sending the children? You know, I don't think teenagers are getting their messages from the General Assembly ever on anything. You know, that has to do with...
Please, you'll hurt our feelings.
the family, the neighborhood, the friend, you know, there's so many factors that go into why, you know, teenagers try marijuana. Some try it and that's it, and then some develop a problem. But, you know, I just don't see that, you know, if we pass this legislation, it all of a sudden turning on some spigot, because it's already, there's so many surveys now. Students who want marijuana can get marijuana.
So my last question, unfortunately, I wasn't here at the very beginning of the testifying this evening. I was in front of another committee. Can you give me a couple of ideas as to why the Chiefs Association, and I've got their written testimony, or why law enforcement would be so adamantly opposed to the legalization of marijuana?
I've thought this, and I'm going to make some enemies. I think it might be partly that tends to be an older cohort.
Okay.
They've been very serious about law enforcement for decades. That's how they got to where they were, and it just seems to be changing their minds on this. You know, I don't know. There could be all kinds of sociological reasons. Where did those people come from? I worked with a whole lot of people like myself, were officers for a while, but then moved on to something else, a different career, went back to college or whatever. These are the people who just always wanted to do this, and they've aimed for, you know, all the promotions all their life, and that's fine, but I'm not sure they are very nuanced on some of these issues. They just, when your only tool is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, and you know, to tell them, look, what we're doing isn't working, it just doesn't seem to be getting through. I'm stymied. It's a stubborn cohort. They're always on the opposite side of this issue. But ask the younger cops, you know.
Oh, I will. Thank you for your testimony tonight.
Thank you.